city of New York, I think. Sam, did you get?
It's sold for dollars in the city.
Pardon?
It's sold for dollars.
Through the city. So cities, I guess through the Department of Cultural Affairs, they're letting galleries have centers there for the summer. It's a lot of fun to go. There you go, get another place to visit. That's Governor's Island. And look for Sam in the Mikhail Gorbachev house, which, how do you know, which number is it?
It's in Colonel's Row. It's called the Hola Center.
This is called the whole.
It's the last house on Colonel's Row.
On who's from Colonel's Road?
Colonel's Row. It's all the colonels stayed.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so they were close. Hi, welcome, Crab, Shaman, come on in. All right, yes, it's they do, you can hang from the ceilings, I think they do. Ribbon hanging? I don't know if anybody's doing that kind of exercise. It's aerobic. Acrobats, yeah, how do they do it? They use silk. Do you do any of that?
No.
You know, we put some silk threads.
That would be a show that I was in.
All right. Well, all right, thanks for stopping by. All right, we'll keep the door open then. Okay? We have a lot of artists here. We're going to be, a lot of times that's what it's like in an open mic setting. I hope you guys have gone to Sidewalk. There's a place near where I live on Avenue 86th Street every Monday night. They have an open mic, and they're open for magicians, comedians, and especially songwriters. So, well, come on into Talent Night if you like. We're going to be starting in a few minutes. But now we're just having introductory conversations about different people. I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to be honored in some lawyers telling stories about other lawyers. The 12 nights that are done here every year, usually they choose some renowned member of the bench or bar. There was does anybody know who Jed Rakoff is? I think Jed Rakoff fans. Anybody fans of his decisions? He was one of our shows. It was 2 years ago. It was called That's Jed, telling the story of his ambition. I guess how his ambition was or his wife pushing him. And it's a total exaggeration because he's a very laid-back kind of guy. I mean, maybe he's just a great judge. The Southern District, and sometimes sitting on other districts in California. Sometimes they sit on the Court of Appeals in other districts, so they can sort of overrule themselves. There were some stories about that. And I think the next figure we honored, Preet Bharara. He was the U.S. attorney who was fired by Donald Trump. It seemed like there's another New York attorney who we were wondering why he wasn't prosecuting Harvey Weinstein or something. Is that the same? Anyway, so that job is open now. So people are applying for that job. I forget there's another woman who was maybe city council. Letitia James. Or Preet Bharara. Yeah, or the person who's over there, she's currently. Zoe Chichow, maybe. That's Ellery, who's here to help supplement my inability to fill in the blanks, but I'll try. Ginsburg is somebody, they're doing Fast Times at Ruth Bader Ginsburg High, and it's part of another group that does a smaller scale. But if it's good enough, we'll bring it here to the City Bar. So you folks who are here today, will hope you consider being part of this bigger production, which is, everybody writing and performing something with a specific theme, which will be somebody that's to be chosen as a subject. Yeah, Mike is good, I think. And by the way, the current entertainment committee is chaired by Rita Warner. I was a former chair myself. And the new chair will be Nancy Zahner. So we hope to, you'll be in touch with her next. I think many of you were in touch with Rita Warner. I'm in touch with her too, but I understand she's traveling. So every year that we've been doing these little talent nights, and it's a chance for us to sample the new talent out there, to be part of those bigger productions, which are in January. There are 12th night shows that occur like 18th, 20th, but the 12th night tradition itself is apparently based on December 25th being 12 days from January 6th. And that's another story. Sam and I went to the Epiphany. Is that what it was? That we went to St. Luke's Church. The person who introduced me to the City Bar was Donald Shaw, and he was going to this church. I think he had a Catholic background, but he gone to the nearest of his church to where he lived. It's at St. Luke in the Field. And they celebrated an actual 12th night with singers that they bring in from the choirs of New York City. Really beautiful music, a lot of foray. It shows a lot of beautiful music. I think as an Anglican, they're able to just draw from more sources. That great singing. So the 12th night tradition somehow translated into this show here. I think also for Shakespeare. Shakespeare named a play 12th night.
I think Shakespeare and also Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Twelfth Night was first performed in Middletown in London. With Shakespeare in the
Shakespeare was in the room at Middletown.
Middletown one of London's stories.
Middletown. Middletown is in London? You're not interrupting. You're supplementing.
No, there are four rings of court in London.
Oh, yeah, the Lincoln Inn.
Lincoln's in Gray's in Inner Temple and Middle Temple. And the Middle Temple is attached to Old Meeting Court.
Oh,
So, yeah, and there's Middle Temple Hall, it's kind of resembles Hogwarts.
oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I thought that was in Staten Island.
I don't know.
Wow. So they call you, there's a movie called A Fish Called Wanda. That's how many of us were educated about the exciting lives of barristers. Did you ever get called in for any
No,
criminal
I'm
matter?
2,000 miles away, that's the problem.
2,000 miles, but is your family part of the barrister tradition in England?
No,
How did you even get to be considered? I thought it was in the family, passing it down from one generation to the
no,
other.
they've opened it up, they're looking for more looking for diversity.
Great. Well, that's good for us to know, because that's where you wear a wig.
Well, yeah, well, actually, it's just so, well, it's a long American tradition with the Middle Temple. 5 signers of the Declaration were Middle Templars. 7 signers of the Constitution were Middle Templars,
Oh.
including Rutledge, who was our second Chief Justice.
Maybe Shakespeare somehow was connected with it?
Shakespeare wrote Twelfth Night, and Twelfth Night was first performed in Middle Temple Hall in London.
Yeah, like in 1599 or something.
Exactly, and Shakespeare was in the room.
All right, long tradition that we've carried on here in the United States. It's basically from British common law. And so the people that we are tend to be New York-based in some way. We're talking about the 12th night that you'll be perhaps part of. Right, going to my list here. So, who is up for, is it 10 o'clock? Francis Scanlon performed already. And Robert, do you want to tell us more about how did you become a barrister?
How did I go there?
Yeah. Did you actually go to law school?
No, I was actually there on vacation with my family, and my daughter was with her Girl Scout troop, and my wife is also a lawyer. She's a New Jersey lawyer, and she decided she was going to go to Harrods, and so I went to the Old Bailey. And you have to sign, you have to fill these papers, and they ask you, now it's terrorism and all this other nonsense.
Oh, you could fill out forms?
Yeah, they fill out a form, where you work, and all this other stuff, address and all this other thing, emails and all this. And so they said, "Oh, you're a New Jersey lawyer." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you want to tour the building, or do you want to watch a trial?" I said, "No, I'll go watch a trial." And so I got to watch a murder trial.
In a very refined setting, I guess. Old Bailey.
It's the old with the wigs.
Growing tomatoes.
With the wigs, yeah, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I found myself at the Bar Council, CIL, not SEL, that's the governing body for barristers, and which is, I suppose, if you ever see the Law Society, if you ever see that, that's solicitors. That's the governing body for solicitors.
Oh, the Law Society.
So, yeah, and contrary to popular belief, they don't call it a split bar. It's a split profession. Solicitors get licensed by the Solicitor's Regulatory Authority. Barristers get licensed by the Bar Council. They do not cross over. I mean, some solicitors have become barristers, some barristers have become solicitors. You can do that but it's a completely separate licensing scheme. So when we say split profession, it's a split profession, not a split bar, because the word bar only applies to barristers. The word counsel only applies to barristers.
And then we need a bar, I guess we use that as a bar. Then you can approach the bench, the bench and bar? Bench. Well, who's behind the bar? The judge. The bench is the judge. The bar is where the barrister stands.
Or actually where the term bar actually comes, in our country, the bar is that rail that goes across the courtroom with the gate
Yeah.
that you have to walk through. So you're admitted to appear before the bar. Okay, and that's, if you think that's if you think I'm being funny, I'm not. But years ago, I just got admitted to New York this year, this past year. But when I was a pup, you could get admitted into New York. And I worked for a New Jersey law firm, and they sent me into New York State Court for a status conference. It was just a matter of, status conference, schedule discovery and all this other nonsense. And it was a fairly big case, and it was too big to have the conference in chambers. So it was, in the courtroom. Not on the record, just in the courtroom. It must have had about 30 lawyers. And the judge, the New York State judge, said, is anyone here not admitted to the New York bar? So I raised my hand. And he said, I will thank you to stand in the gallery. So I had to go behind that rail. Now, in where it actually comes from is in the old days with the Inns of Court, there was a similar type thing, a rail, but it was the barrister, I guess Queen's Counsel type, the seniors would be in front of this circular rail, and everybody else would be behind it. We took that concept and did this rail thing that we do, because over there they don't have it.
There's a bar association, an association of members of the bar. Well, that was all back in the days yesterday when we were young.
Long before we were young.
In the 1600s. All right, well, who was going first? We've heard from Robert, but somebody I think wanted to break the ice. Did you really want? Is this an icebreaker kind of thing?
I have somewhere I have to go.
So,
We're starting at 6.
Andrea.
Andrea. Yes.
All right, so Andrea, I'd like to introduce to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, our first performance for tonight, Francis can say, stand-up comedy. Andrea Cole.
Should we get together? Should we put chairs?
Oh, we could come closer if you want to move your chairs over. You like this open thing? I know Brandy.
Next year I have to bring something, I'm trying to get that last.
Going first at an open mic. Really?
I know. Well, thanks for moving closer. Appreciate it. Letting me go first. It's cold in here, no?
Yeah, no, it goes back and forth.
It goes back and forth between hot and cold. That's not a joke. I'm just sharing my experience. So, is everybody in the room an attorney?
No.
No, you're not an attorney.
Like Sam.
I don't practice.
You don't practice. Let's see. I mean, it's such an intimate crowd. I want to try something more fun than usual jokes. I'm not sure what that would be or what that would look like. I think it would be fun to tell a story instead of doing stand-up. I think of a story to tell.
Your first time in court.
That's fun. I love the suggestion. Thank you. My first time in court. That was a long time ago. I'll tell you about my favorite trial. But to tell you about my favorite trial, I have to tell you about one of my first trials, which was in Brooklyn. Anybody go into Brooklyn to practice at all? Ever? At times, yeah. This was a trial I had at 141 Livingston, and I was super green. It wasn't my first trial, it was probably like maybe my second or third, but I was super, super green, and my opposing counsel was a shady mother effer, and it certainly wasn't his first time. And he got over, he tried some things, and I was too new and too green to realize what was going on. He did things he wasn't supposed to do, and I was just like so overwhelmed. It was my first, I think it was my first trial on damages and liability, and I kind of got thrown into the water. And my manager didn't know that it was going to end up being as complicated of a trial as it was, so I lost, and I lost badly. But I managed to cap the damages, which was smart on a certain level, so then there wasn't as much exposure, because the jury awarded the plaintiff a lot of money, but I had capped it, so it was okay. I had capped it below the policy. So years later, I had this guy again, this attorney, and I remembered him obviously because he had wiped the floor with me, and I knew I was out for vengeance. I was definitely out for vengeance, and the odds were stacked highly against me. I do personal injury defense, so like this plaintiff was, he'd had a surgery on his right shoulder, and he had been hit in the rear by my driver, and he had been a pitcher, like not major leagues, but like minor, like potential major, so he was asking for a lot of money. He was asking for millions of dollars. And obviously I'm not a doctor, so it was, I was feeling a lot of the pressure, like what am I gonna do when I know this guy is shady and I know he's much more experienced than I am. But I woke up that morning before the trial and I was like, I felt sick to my stomach, knowing that I was gonna face him, but I went in there, I was like, I'm out there for vengeance, so my power color is red. So I put on my red dress, put on red lipstick, and I kind of visualized wiping his blood across my face when I put the lipstick on, because I was like, I am going to, even if I don't win, I'm going to get in some good shots. So one of the things he did during the trial was during jury selection, he'd ask some like shady questions to the jury and put some things in there to the jury he shouldn't have. So as soon as we met with the judge for the pre-trial conference, like pre-jury conference, I said, Your Honor, I just want to make sure everybody's clear about the kinds of things we can and can't say to a jury. And the judge was like, oh my gosh, like, well, why would you be concerned about that? I said, I've been on trial with this attorney before, and I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. The judge was like, oh my God. And the plaintiff attorney didn't remember me. He was like, wait, what? Huh? What's going on? And so then the judge immediately saw him as like a shady character. And the plaintiff attorney was immediately on the defensive of like, no, I'm going to be completely appropriate and everything's going to be fine. And during the trial itself, the plaintiff attorney, he had like 3 or 4 interns, or like, I don't know, he had like 3 or 4 people helping him with this stuff. He had a, whatever those things are, he had like audio visual aids and like a click, like he had a lot of stuff. And I had, paper. And he went up there to start doing his own presentation, and the projector didn't work. And I was like, yes, this is like the universe like, on my side, breaking his shit so he can't like win. So that was cool. And then the other thing was, I knew I had the facts on my side, because it sounds bad. Like, he was rear-ended, he was going to be a big-time baseball player and a pitcher, and then he gets hurt in my accident, has to have surgery on his shoulder, and his career is completely dashed. But I knew that the shoulder surgery was bullshit, because how do you hurt your shoulder just because you're hit in the rear? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. So I just used a lot of like my intuition, and I was mainly making the argument of degeneration, that like if there's something wrong with this guy's shoulder, it's not because he got like a quick hit in the rear that didn't even cause any damage to his car. It's because over time, he's like using it, thank you, like over time, like pitching and doing all the things you do as a baseball player. So I demonstrated those things to the jury. I was like, so when I was cross-examining him, like, what are the things you do when you're in practice? How many days a week are you in practice? And what are you doing? You're doing this a lot, you're doing that a lot, and just like getting very like physical in front of the jury in terms of what he would do and what he wouldn't do. Long story short, I won the case. I won on damages. They decided that yes, the accident was our fault, but he did not have a serious injury from our accident. And the plaintiff attorney was like shocked and upset, mortified, couldn't believe it. And it was one of the greatest moments of my entire life, mainly because he had been so shady before, and I won by being honest, telling the truth, and showing that truth to the jury. So it was awesome. I was so happy. I don't feel like I need to do anything else legal again because of that moment, because of that day. And that was like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah, I think being an attorney is awesome. It's so great. Thanks for letting me tell the story.
Thank you. Andrea. And I know, think about how they, it's a real fight. You get into a state of being totally like ferocious, wolves. And then do you want to do that again? Like, do you then feel like you want to be in that pressure, like you actually thrive on it, the adrenaline rush of,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're still doing it, you're not like,
Yeah, I still practice. I'm still a trial attorney.
yeah,
That was the most fun.
right, that was the most fun,
It
but
was
then,
most stressful.
Yeah.
The most fun.
well, that's interesting, I have a feeling there was maybe a photograph of a vehicle where you could see damage if you used your imagination.
We had an actual photograph that showed no damage.
Yeah, that would be a major issue, I guess,
Yeah. I
for,
love those pictures.
and why you have so much on your side there. But that's sad too, he's always talking about, oh boy. I don't know what you do about that, because it's such an extreme, well, that's something, I guess you feel that in England too, or, people recovering big damages, is it a big damage world? Like Germany and France, other this sort of payoff that's personal injury. Yeah.
Well, listening to Andrea's story, the entertainment committee can do a more type of production in
yeah.
the legal framework.
Well, we can all
And
have stories.
Andrea might even consider doing a more story.
Yeah, well, we have your information. Well, because you're going to be able to, stick around as long as you can. We can hear some more. Let's see. The music that I can offer as a songwriter, let me give you an idea of what I do, because the Preet Bharara show has a speech that he would tell to his the graduating students in Berkeley. This is a song I like to do. I wonder how audible we are now. The idea that we have a doctor, a Juris Doctorate, gives us a chance to have flexibility in our careers. A lot of people, you're not an attorney anymore. What happened? But you did get the education.
Yeah, I
You
got
got a
it.
Juris Doctorate.
The education paid for, paid back.
We
I
paid
practiced
back.
for a while, yeah.
Fulfills your liberal arts education. A lot to be said for that. And then you went into something else, business.
Yeah.
So Preet has this to say to you about that.
Oh.
Your JD provides you mobility. You can double back and take the path less traveled. You're graduating from law school, but you don't even have to practice law if you don't want to. Do what makes you happy, whatever brings you joy. This JD provides flexibility. Your concise complaint can topple corporations. If ever you feel your company is compromising your deep values, tell them goodbye. You'll avoid the fire when you take the higher road. Move on, quit if you don't like it. Don't prolong your sentence in a job you hate. Do not let inertia overwhelm songwriting opportunity by participating in this. Next up is, let's see, a performer who is not a singer, let's see. I don't know, this performing tricks with soap bubbles is very exciting. Is that something you feel
I'll do that.
ready for?
Yeah.
All right. So this is totally new. We've had some magic, but I don't ever think, well, I don't even know if I should have said soap bubbles. It's such a great surprise to know that that's part of the act. I got to go to the Magic Castle. Okay, another place you can go to. They're in Los Angeles, which I was recently, where to see the acts. A lot of young people, you know, their mentors are there. I want you, well, do you have a mic?
If I need a mic.
You might carry well. All right, so I want to be able to see you more than.
This might get messier.
See, I'm-
Into the layout.
Should we just like, yeah.
Okay.
Where are the slides?
Performance area. Good fun.
So,
So while I set up, I'll introduce myself. My
yeah,
name is-
I'll introduce it. It's
Yeah,
Ben.
go ahead. Yeah,
Ben
Cussman.
Cussman,
Thank you,
ladies and
sir.
gentlemen. Thank you.
I practice commercial litigation at a firm called Windell's Marks, right up the street here. And my hobby, up until recently, it was just a hobby, is me and my son make soap bubbles. We go out and make lots and lots of little bubbles and a few very large bubbles. And it sort of turned into a side business for us. We do birthday parties and block parties and things like that. And we call it Enterprise OMG Bubbles, and it's what the ABA would call a side hustle. Apparently, people like me are featured in this week's issue. I was very happy to be legitimized in this way. I like that a lot better than moonlighting. I feel like side hustle has a nice ring to it. Anyway, so I'm going to show you a little bit of what we do, and like I said, it does get a little bit messy, but I think we can handle that. I can tell you, I never thought I'd be doing any kind of a bubble show in this august chamber. I've been here for, I've seen federal court judges and Nobel laureates and all kinds of impressive presentations here, so I'm glad to be in that company. I'm trying not to make too much of a terrible mess here, but here I go. There's some bubble juice required. Like making an omelet, you gotta spill some bubble juice. You're gonna make a lot of bubbles, right? Set this down. The staff is already getting nervous. Staff is moving around nervously, wondering what the heck's gonna happen here. I'm gonna put my notes up here. Oh, so discreetly. I don't want to skip any good tricks. Peter, do I have 10 minutes? Should I stick to 10 minutes? Okay, so I'm going to start with the hardest bubble trick there is and just get ahead of the way. This is also proving tricky. All right, the hardest bubble trick is the Hello Kitty bubble. Okay, anyone can make a round bubble or a big bubble, little bubble. I'm going to try to make a Hello Kitty bubble. All right, if you think, who thinks I can pull this off?
No, definitely cannot.
All right, good. Good, devil's advocate over there. Let's see if we can do this. It's round to me. You know what? This thing doesn't even work, right? It's supposed to make Hello Kitty bubbles. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go into the office tomorrow. I'm gonna call Eric Schneiderman, have him launch an investigation into this defective product. Oh wait, no, I guess I can't do that now. All right. Too soon?
You could have done it like a week ago.
All right, let me try again. All right, let me try again. All right, I need you all to believe in me because the Hello Kitty bubble can only happen if everyone out there believes that this miracle can happen. This is a trick that I learned in my youth going to Pentecostal churches, right? The preacher would get into his healing routine and he'd be curing all of these invisible, vague ailments, right? And the person would dance back to their seat being healed, and then once in a while you'd get some old codger with a broken leg or like severe arthritis, and he'd be hobbling up to the front expecting to be healed, and you can tell the preacher, oh crap, now what am I gonna do? So the trick is turn it around and make it the congregation's fault. If any of you don't believe, then, and that's what always seemed to happen, is that the leg did not get unbroken, it was our fault. Okay, well, that's what I'm doing now. I'm depending on you to make the Hello Kitty bubble happen. That one is close. I think we're getting close here. You might need to add some moisture. It's a little dry in here. Here we go. Did it. Hello Kitty. Applause point. Ta-da. Hello Kitty. Give me a chance to wipe up a little bit. All right, now we're really cooking. Let's get rid of this. So you can really make bubbles with just about anything that has a hole in it. You dip it in the bubble juice and you get, you start blowing your brains out. This funnel will work, although it takes a little effort. I might need some encouragement on this one.
Please.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, and it's here.
All right, that's yours, sir. Your bubble survives. Great. Kids love that one. All right, the next.
Do you mind if I take a picture?
Children of all.
I would love for you to take a picture.
Oh.
Thank you.
I thought she was going to be the
All
preacher.
Good publicity. So that's here. That's here. Kids and grandkids. All right, so you'd think, I said you can blow soap juice through anything and you'll get a bubble, but here we've got something that looks pretty solid. But guess what? We can get some bubbles out of this, as you will see momentarily. How about this portable table I got on Amazon?
Oh.
It's a caterpillar of bubbles. How do you like that? Now, if I continue in this fashion, I'm going to get a beautiful bubble hat. But it's a lot of work, and I don't want to get all the trouble of making a bubble hat unless I get a volunteer to model the hat.
Well, I'm gonna wear that.
You, sir, I dare say,
Better.
could stand for some head covering. How about it?
Ellery, you want to wear a bubble hat?
Not really.
I want to see a lawyer in a bubble hat. All right, I'm going to do it.
I did see, there was a bubble show on TV where the person didn't do that well. Oh, it was on that Ken Harvey thing.
Oh.
So there's a low bar. Higher? Higher?
Yeah, higher. Carmen Moran.
That's right. If for a birthday party, I would encourage the birthday boy to blow out the candles and we would blow the bubbles all over everybody. I'm not going to do that. But how about
Looks
just
delicious.
sitting on my head 'cause it'll be there all night. But yeah, that's a pretty good bubble. Hey, okay. I'm going to set this aside while I figure out what to do with all
All right,
that.
how long does that last?
And that'll last quite a while. It's because that's thousands of tiny little bubbles there, as opposed to just one big bubble that can pop. It's got a long lifespan. Put this away.
Smaller bubbles live longer.
All right, so now I'm gonna do, I think, the only actual trick that requires manual dexterity. So let's see how this works. I'm going to get out the big bubble hoop. On this handy dandy handle. A little more. This is not an affect. You actually need some moisture in the air. The bubbles will just pop, especially indoors. So here with a wand like this, you get some pretty nice big bubbles.
Wow.
Right, so not rocket science, and they come right back. Boomerang bubbles. Got an eye out for security. Come kick us out. So, some nice action right there. And it's a nice effect. So here's what I'm going to try to accomplish now. I'm going to try to get a lot of bubbles inside of a big bubble. Let's see if I can make this happen. I'm going to catch the bubble. All right, try again. Notice how you start off with a long tube that then the bubble struggles to become a sphere. The bubble wants to be a sphere because of surface tension. It wants to have as little surface area as possible. So it forms a nice sphere. All right, whip my whistle a little bit. Oh, see, that is not what's supposed to happen. Let's try again. Just blame the dryness. I got you. This is for arts and dexterity, didn't I?
Wow.
And I did one more because if I do it just right, I can make a pretty neat effect. Catch the bubble. Oops. It's getting away from me. Here we go. I went a little too far last time. Flew too close to the sun. If you pop it now, the bubbles will escape.
Oh.
It's a little volcano. It's like we're in Hawaii. Sorry, too soon? Yeah. Too soon again.
The optics.
The optics are nice, right? So, you know what? It's messy, but I'm going to show you what a really nice big bubble looks like. It's such a great audience. I'm going to do that for you. So this is what the kids usually want. They like a little bit of bubble magic, but what they really want is to see some really huge bubbles that they can chase around. I can tell you, they go nuts when this happens. They go absolutely nuts. I used to worry about kids slipping and falling in the bubble juice, but the real danger is that the kids will just knock each other out while they're chasing after the bubbles. Something like this. It's a medium. It's like a go-kart size bubble, but I have to get a bus or a truck size bubble. It's coming right at you.
Could you fill this whole room up with bubbles?
Don't make me say hold my beer. I'm working on a that you spin a crank and a bunch of gears turn and it's all very visible and a bunch of bubbles fly out. I think that'll be fun once we get that going. But yeah, on a nice windy day, me and my son together are doing this, and at any given time, there's probably a few dozen bubbles flying around.
Wow.
Yeah, I love this image, being in this room with these bubbles. Okay, that's the show here.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope you like this.
Give me your email, I'll send them off to you tonight.
Oh, I'd appreciate that. Sure, I'll give you my card.
Oh yeah, leave your card, please, for those parties.
Yeah, we call our outfit OMG Bubbles. So if you look us up, you'll find OMG Bubbles. That's
OMG.
OMG, because that's what the kids are saying. OMG.
How old is your
Those
son?
bubbles.
How old is your son?
Yes, I'll give you a card.
That was a lot of fun, but a grammatical suggestion. My son and I, not me and my son, okay?
I'll take that. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. How was that? The hat. Oh, look, eventually
Oh, the hat was good. The hat
settles
has subsided.
down. There's sort of there's a washing machine feeling get also. You could be
Mind
cleaning
me.
your clothes. If I was lucky, I had a stain on my.
I think I left the carpet a little bit cleaner than I found it.
Yes, that's right. They can come back and use that.
My churches and theirs. They
All right.
misuse me.
All right, while we're breaking down, My Love the Law is another song. I'm just gonna sing all my law songs. I the laws are jealous mistress. In time I came to love the law. I love the law. Professors asked in law school, do you love the law? I love the law. I love the law. I love it. No one is above it. Please approach but not too close. Let us go forth. Some requests are useless against fate. What's your case worth? Would you rather hurry and wait? Then close your eyes, imagine how it was before. You'll see a world in turmoil, cry nevermore. The skills of legal practice are like flags unfurled. We're citizens of the world. So guide and shape the future from the courthouse steps. The past is but the history of our records kept. Rewritten as a footnote, there is only this, separating us from chaos. It's the law. It's the law. I love the law. I love it. No one is above the law. It's the law. I love the law. Great peace have they who love the law. It's the law. I love the law. I love it. No one is above the law. I love the law. I love the law. Great peace have they who love the law. Our next musical act, Luck Be a Lady. And it is one of the stars of the show, the recent show, The Devil in Preparara, Clem Colucci.
When I was a young man about to go out into the world, my father said to me, he said something very valuable to me. He said it like this: "Son," the old man said, "I am sorry that I am not able to bankroll you to a large start, but as I have no potatoes which to give you, instead I am going to stake you to some very valuable advice. One of these days in your travels, a man is going to come up to you on the street and show you a nice brand new deck of cards on which the seal has not yet been broken. And he's going to offer to bet you that he can make the jack of spades jump out of the deck and squirt cider in your ear. Now, son, do not take that bet, because as sure as you stand there, you are going to end up with an earful of cider." Now, the name's Masterson, Sky Masterson, and as you may know, I am a professional player of games of chance. My marker is good anywhere I lay it down, because I avoid all the sucker bets and all the losing propositions and pay very close attention to the odds. Now, that is not so easy, because the house always wins in the long run, and all of life is 6 to 5 against. So if you want to find just a little bit of joy in this vale of tears, you're going to need a bit of luck. And luck, as we all know, is a bitch. Maestro? They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. You're on this date with me, the pickings have been lush, and yet before this evening is over, you might give me the brush. You might forget your manners, you might refuse to stay, and so the best that I can do is pray. Luck be a lady tonight, luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with, luck be a lady tonight. Luck let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you've been with other guys you've been with, luck be a lady with me. A lady doesn't leave her escort, it isn't fair. lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. So let's keep the party polite. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady. Be a lady tonight.
Thank you. Let's see. Up next is Philippe, who is offering as well. What is yours? Well, Philippe, yes. Welcome to the stage. And your last name is? Danielides. How do you?
You want me to record you on that?
But, this working? So I am also a stand-up comedian, so we're gonna do a little bit, we're gonna try a small group in this room, but I think we can have some fun, we'll get some immediate feedback. So, my name is Philippe Danielides. Really happy to be here. When I started doing stand-up, I was a first year at Millbank Tweed in New York, and I didn't tell a soul that I was doing it. I just kept it to myself. I was just really terrified that the partners would find out that I had creative interests or a sense of humor or really just any free time to do anything else. So it feels really good to be here among other lawyers and sharing something that I really enjoy doing. It's beautiful, so thank you for being a part of my own healing journey, which I'm guessing is the reason why you all came tonight, so I appreciate your support. I actually don't practice, I don't practice anymore. It's an open book exam. I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, I don't practice anymore. I just got away from my true passion, which was performing at talent shows at bar associations across the country. So I was done with that. No, actually the competition was too fierce. So I wound up becoming a life coach, and that's true. That's what I do now. And I actually focus a lot on working with lawyers, which I think makes sense because problems, some problems. So yeah, it's great to be here. So what is your name again? Ben. Ben. Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for doing your bubbles. I actually have to be honest with you. I knew your name. I knew that you were gonna be here, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but this was actually a very cleverly orchestrated ruse to get you here for an intervention, which is why I was brought in. So, yeah. Well, no, it's all right. We're all here. Everyone at the bar is really worried about you. What?
My hubris just led me straight.
Yeah, you were easy to tempt. You were very easy to tempt in, but it's about time that we address your social media trolling problem. And as Melania, our First Lady, has unironically pointed out, cyberbullying is apparently a problem that needs to be addressed. So we're all here to support you, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but why don't we begin with maybe just a small warm-up softball question to get things going. So should I call you Ben, or maybe by your screen name, the notorious RBG? Which do you prefer? Okay, it's RBG. Just to throw it all out, this is a good question to start with. So, what would you say is, I don't know, the one thing that you're most afraid of people learning about you?
That's not a softball.
No, don't worry, and it's fine. It's fine. We're just kind of getting going, and it's okay. Everything that you say in this room will not leave this room because of what I'll just call performer audience confidentiality at lawyers. I think that's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing, right? Okay. A practicing lawyer told me it's a thing, so that's fine. Or you can just sit and like marinate it with it for a while. Yeah, practicing law was tough for me. It was the hours, the pressure, having partners passive aggressively point out my grammatical errors after I'd been out for days working on a deal. So, you know, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, commas save lives. So it was really important. I just couldn't cut it. But speaking of, I know that people like to leave themselves notes on Post-its, reminder notes, but what's with the exclamation point? Like, are you afraid that you'll forget how enthusiastic you were about what you wrote down, or do you just yell all of your internal thoughts? Which do you yell? Your thoughts are in a constant scream internally.
One line with an exclamation point.
Yeah. No, law school is, not only do we have to deal with that, but I thought it was really, it was competitive. It was competitive in school, it was competitive getting into school. I was actually reading an article recently about how competitive it still is to get admitted even to school, which is true, but let's be honest, nowhere nearly as tough as getting admitted to blimp captain school. Am I right? Finally someone's talking about it. Yeah, I'm getting some nods. I mean, just think about it. There are 7 billion people on the planet, and what, like 6 blimps? That's very daunting math, guys. Let's think about it. But even with those odds, I was curious, like, how hard could it possibly be? So I looked up an application for blimp captain school, and it's here. I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's here are the questions I thought it might be of interest. Question 1, do you like to fly? A, yes. B, no. Or C, yes, but only in a circle around tennis and golf events. Okay, it's hard. And the second question here is, do you like balloons? It's good. It's a good question. I feel it's relevant. This is A, yes. B, fuck yes. Or C, depends on their personality. And then the third question, which I was interested in, is an open essay question. And here it is. It's, are you good at anything else? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure the application has at least like 6 or 7 questions. The lawyers we can be a bit elitist when it comes to education and intelligence. Like, you know, I feel like that's something that we as a group tend to judge people maybe more so than others, which makes sense as a coping mechanism for always being picked last in gym class. So, you know, we've all got to be first at something in our lives. And when I'm wanting to maybe extend my lead, I love to throw people this. So just a little show of hands. Have you ever been in an elevator alone and run your fingers over the braille to try to read it? No? Okay, right. When you did you really think that closing your eyes would help? Now I know that you wouldn't do that because you all are smart, rational lawyers, and that wouldn't make any sense. But if you really want to put someone in their place, that's a good way to do it. Screw the guy who put an S in the word lisp. I feel like that's avoidable pain when putting people through. So like I said, I am a life coach, and I spend all my time now having very real, vulnerable conversations with people, and for lots of lawyers, not only, but for lots of lawyers, it's the only opportunity that they have, I think, in their lives where they can just be themselves and talk about who they are, what they really want to do, right, the issues that they're facing. And it's an important thing to do because we spend a lot of our times pretending. There's a lot of like pretense, there's a lot of running around pretending that we have our shit together, that we actually know what's going on. And the truth is that at least my truth is that I don't a lot of the time. And so this collective game that we're all playing leads to a lot of ridiculous situations, like modern art, for example. I was at MoMA recently and I saw this painting of a watercolor, and it was 2 blue dots on a white canvas. And I went up and read the placard, and it said that the painting was a meditation on female sexuality. And my mind said, no, but my mouth said, oh, interesting. It's like every time I see something like that, I can just imagine the artist next to their masterpiece just going, pretty powerful, huh? Do you get it? And we're all of us standing around like, oh yeah, yeah, do you get it? No, I get it too, totally, me too. See, the problem is that I don't, and I'm guessing that there are others in the room that may not as well. And the problem is that admitting that saying so would require admitting that we also have no idea what the hell is going on, and that's just too scary for a lot of us to do. I was actually at another museum a couple months ago, and I heard a woman talking about a painting, and she described the artist's brushstrokes as brave. What? It's like, unless the artist ran through a burning building with a paintbrush in hand to get to his canvas going, damn the danger, I must paint. Like, I don't think that's what you mean. I think what you're actually trying to say is, silence makes me uncomfortable and I have to fill it with words. All right, well that's my set. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Let's see, the group of 7. And next up is a man who is also admitted to the English bar of Great Britain. And he's going to tell us the story that leads into why he chose this song of all. No? A song with English lyrics by the man who wrote Les Miserables?
Yeah, the English lyrics to the name is Herb Preston.
Did you know that part?
What?
The fellow who's the song?
The songwriter is Charles Aznavour.
I know he's a famous one. He sings, he writes.
Charles Aznavour? Charles Aznavour was he's of Armenian descent. I'm not sure if he was born in Armenia, but his parents were, and they were trying to get to America, and they ran out of money when they got to France, and so they stopped. So I don't know if he had been born in Armenia, but he ended up in France. So he's raised French, writes French, but he is of Armenian descent. One of his famous songs is a song about the Armenian genocide, 1900, something like that. And it's called "They Fell." And it's about we're not going to be doing that, but it's a song about the Armenian genocide. And he's written hundreds of songs. Those of you who remember She may be the face I can't forget, the trace of pleasure or regret, may be my treasure or the price I have to pay. Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
No? You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a movie. There was a movie.
I think it was in Love Act, Notting Hill.
Notting Hill, right? And Elvis Costello sings
Yeah.
in that. He's written literally hundreds of songs. And actually, a couple of years ago, they did one of those surveys that they do in Europe as the world's greatest entertainer, and he won.
As a singer too.
As a singer, he was an actor. He was in some movies, on this side of the pond. But this song here is "Yesterday When I Was Young," and it's. Are you familiar with it? It's probably, to my mind, anyway, it's probably the saddest song you'll probably ever hear. because it really is, it's a song about regret. You know, lifetime of Mary Reddy's life.
And a French connection, did you do the comparison between how it's set in English and the original French version?
The original French is in 3/4 time, and as Peter and I found out, there's a little change.
Yeah, the tag.
At the end, the way that it tends, in the original French, it tends to drop to a D, which, you know, really doesn't do. The most famous rendition of this song, though, it does have a New York connection, if I may. It does have a New York connection. Those of you that remember, and it's probably everybody in this room, Mickey Mantle, he had, because of his genetics, because of his family history, he always thought he was going to die young. So as a result, he partied very hard. He once said that if it wasn't for Billy Martin, he probably could have played for 5 more years. But he and Billy Martin spent a lot of time drinking. Before he died, he asked Roy Clark, Roy Clark made the song famous in this country. And before Mick died, he asked Roy Clark to sing the song at his funeral, which he did. So this is actually, it doesn't get more somber than that. I mean, at this point, yesterday, when I was young, the taste of life was sweet as rain upon my tongue. I teased at life as if it were a foolish game. The way the evening breeze may tease a candle flame. The 1,000 dreams I dreamed, the splendid things I planned, I always built less on weak and shifting sand. I lived by night and shunned, turns on, the naked light of day. And only now I see all the years ran away. Yesterday, when I was young, so many drinking songs were waiting to be sung. So many wayward pleasures lay in store for me, and so much pain my dazzled eyes refused to see. I ran so fast that time and youth at last ran out. I never stopped to think what life was all about. Every conversation I can now recall concerned itself with me and nothing else at all. Yesterday, the moon was blue, and every crazy day brought something new to do. I used my magic age as if it were a wand, and never saw the waste and emptiness beyond. The game of love I played with arrogance and pride, and every flame I lit too quickly died. The friends I made all seemed somehow to drift away. Only I am left on stage to end the play. There are so many songs in me that won't be sung. I feel the bitter taste of tears upon my tongue. The time has come for me to pay for yesterday, when I was young.
Thank you. Let's see, who else is up? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Is that it?
That's our show.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. Anybody have if you have a record player, I have a record here, the golf course. It's available.
That's you.
Yes.
I'm going to try to shut this off and screw it.
Oh,
And it's,
Go ahead. You're good.
there was a show
and it's green also.
and it's green, yeah, I wonder how.
A record player from the 1950s?
Do you have a record player? How's your record player?
No.
Okay. Do you have a record player?
No, my mother-in-law does.
Oh, your mother-in-law.
Right, right.
You have a record player? Yes.
Can I see?
Yes, here you go. Maybe you have a record player for your son?
Yeah, we were.
Oh, okay.
The other night, I told him to put on Thriller. Remember, you know what he said? He said, the hit side, I want you to start with something side.
Well, he's also working together with his father. That sounds like a great act. I wish I could brought him here.
Yeah, me too, he wanted to come.
Yeah, oh, well,
He's in New Jersey.
next time, right, New Jersey. We'll be doing, the New City event, go to it's Memorial Day, and they really have a service there. They would love that. And they would love stand-up comedy as well. Singers, and sampling of what they're working on. It's really
What is this
wonderful,
now?
inspiring. So, a place called Theater for the New City.
Oh.
And you go to between 9th and 10th Street on First Avenue, 155 First Avenue. I could send you there. I could also send you to the Governor's Island. It's definitely worthwhile taking your son to.
And sidewalk.
Yeah, and there's a place in the East Village called Sidewalk. Still playing there. I know I've been doing it for many years, and well, that's how it goes.
Now, when do you play some weekends, the restaurant?
Yeah, I'm playing at this East Village venue, like a Tuesday night. They have a piano there, do a 45-minute set of original material.
Oh,
So
really?
whatever you're writing.
He's talking about Pangea, I think.
Yeah, there's a place called Pangea. Sometimes we play there for a cabaret show, different singers. But each time it's also project-based. So telling a story of something. That album, The Gulf Wars, it has a script connected with it, and from there it gets songs, and now we're developing a new piece about the id. I think the Stephen King movie showed something that was maybe thriving on fear, and then if you're not afraid of it, it sort of dies away, and that seems like the concept of the id that I knew also from Lost in Space episode. And then I looked, it's called Space Creature. So the Lost in Space episode that had this little white sheet over a fellow's head, but it was just thriving on people's response to it. I guess people who draw your power from you, the id could do that. And the Stephen King clown maybe is just the generic id. So we get into a new story, and maybe what we are afraid of, confronting our fears.
Are you going to sing it? Are you going to sing it?
Yeah, oh yeah, so I'll do the song. I'll do the title song from the id so you get an idea. Claire, you want to hear the id song?
Sure. I just want to share that the pronouns are the most misused words. You're not alone. At least 15 judges and lawyers I've heard misuse words like myself and me and himself, so it's common. Common error.
Well, yeah,
You don't want to be around me.
I think the language is evolving. It's fungible. So if we do it enough, we go back to our British heritage, of course, the English language has spoken this is, we have a mic too. So it's funny, of course, we're doing what the world needs now is Love Sweet. Do you remember that song? I don't know if you're a fan of Burt Bacharach. I am.
So you're normal, that's my point, okay? You're normal.
Oh, Claire. Thank you. The language, I think, is fungible. I wasn't sure me and my son, or my son and I, it might be just flexible now.
It's poetry.
It's poetry, right, when you're changing, because I don't know if it can be perfect. This is not a perfect song, but it is reminding me a lot of that. your it, ooh, no you're not. You're just a little kid like me. I am alone because of what I did. Emotional attachment, I don't let cloud my judgment. I do what is best for the project. I will be professional, see how far it gets me. To opine upon big issues, I use borrowed time. Time I steal from when I should be doing something else. Leave no task undone before. Time spent on conjecture. This my model, honored more in breach than in observance. Yes, I'm responsive and proactive. I act on my direction. As I say I will do, I do. But now I am your id. Now I am your id. That time spent with your girlfriend on me, you kept a lid. I am your id. I am your id. While you entwine your lover in bed is where I hid. You two harmonious for eons. I will rear my head while you two have your orgasms. When you enter into your separate space, there is where you'll find me. I already know how to scare your pants off, only yours. Girlfriends make me disappear, girlfriends I make disappear. I am your id, ooh, no you're not. You're just a little kid like me. I'm your id, ooh, no you're not. You're just a little kid like me. We'll see from there where it goes. Okay, well thank you everyone for coming. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.